Hey, I'm Pro Saxophonist Jamie Anderson, and on today's free online sax lesson, I'm going to teach you a magic formula to help your bebop. I call it Be-Bopicus Magicus. I've got my magic wand, it's the elder wand, to help you transform your bebop into something that's going to sound a bit more like it's making the changes. Let's get straight into it and check out why your solos might not be sounding as good as they could be, and I'll teach you the Be-Bopicus Magicus trick. Okay, straight in. So the first step is that you have to learn your chord tones. Now, I can't use my Be-Bopicus Magicus trick on you with the magic wand of bebop if you don't know your chord tones. Now, I can't help you with that. You're just going to have to go and learn them, all right? So that is step one. You've got to learn your chord tones. And for today, we're going to be practicing a 2-5-1 in concert E flat, which is F for tenor. So G minor 7, C7, F is 2-5-1 in F. I'm just going to talk in F now in tenor pitch. And the chord tones sound like this. You have to know those chord tones off by heart before we start waving our magic bebop wands, all right? So you can see that the actual the chord tone scale steps, if you like, are 1, flat 3, 5, and flat 7 for the minor 7, 1, 3, 5, flat 7 for the dominant, the 5 chord, and 1, 3, 5, 7, natural 7 for the major chord. Okay, that is step one. You've got to learn your chord tones. All right. Step number 2 is we are going to do a special trick with these guide tones. Now, what are guide tones? Guide tones are magic notes that make you sound like you're going to make the changes. Now, to begin with, we're doing what's called a short 2-5-1. So 2 beats of the 2 chord, 2 beats of the 5 chord. And we're not even going to talk about the 1 chord, really. We're just going to resolve onto it today. That's another topic. So we will be going into long 2-5-1s just a little bit later. But for the moment, short 2-5-1. So the guide tones are usually the 7ths and the 3rds of each chord that connect to, basically in a nutshell, without waffling too much. Guide tones are... It's a way of making a horizontal line out of a vertical chord. So you take all the notes of one chord and then you compare which note you're on to the notes of the next chord and see which note is closer. So if you take the flattened 7th of G minor 7, which is an F, what's the nearest note of the next chord to that? And it's an E. Now that flat 7 to the 3, we could even just say like 7 to 3 for shorthand. That 7 to 3 is what makes you sound like you're really making the changes. And if you start transcribing bebop, you're going to see it all the time. And we're going to take the 7 of the C7 chord and resolve it to the 3 of the major. That's the B flat to the A. So this is our first Be-Bopicus Magicus moment, okay? We're going to learn the guide tones and move the 7th to the 3rd and the 7th to the 3rd. So we're going to fill in the blanks in a minute. But if I just play what we've got so far, it would sound something like this. Which actually sounds pretty good already, to be honest, even though it's very simple. All right, that's all good. Let's move on to the next step. So I call that the 7-3, 7-3 guide tones. 7th of the G minor 7 to the 3 of the C7, 7th, flat 7th really, of C7 to the 3rd of the F. All right, next step. We are going to, where you can see those red arrows there, red arrows, we are going to fill in those blanks in the riff, in the line with chord tones from each chord. Now, I did just say that you need to learn your chord tones, and this is why. So we're going to fill them in. And actually, you can randomly fill them in, and this is still going to sound good. So what I actually did to make the Be-Bopicus Magicus formula work is I went on ChatGPT and I got it to suggest random chord tones. These are the root, the 3rd, the 5th, or the 7th. With a few little caveats like you can't repeat notes and you can't blah, blah, blah. A few little things which I realised made it work. And ChatGPT kicked out this list of random chord tones, which I then used to fill in the blanks. And I came up with 6 examples here. Okay, now this is the actual Be-Bopicus Magicus moment. The Elder Wand has done it. So I use those random chord tones, but you keep the guide tones that we've already filled in, okay? So it kicked out the numbers, and I've created these 6 examples. All I did was change which octave some of the notes were in. So that's why this is a magic formula, because it doesn't matter what chord tones you use, it still works. Right, let's have a go and hear these 6 examples. You know, you're not going to be sounding like Sunny Stitt yet, but you are going to be sounding like you're making the changes. So that's what, this is what these 6 examples sound like at this point. Here we go. So this isn't, you know, like any glorious work of art at this point, but what you're doing is using this Be-Bopicus Magicus formula, you are drilling in those chord tones into your head. Oh, look, I'm doing that thing where you can take out thoughts in the pensive, like in Harry Potter. You are drilling in those really important resolutions. Let me just go full screen again. You are drilling in those really important resolutions of the thirds going to the sevenths. So when you come to improvise freely at the intersection of each chord, that seventh is going to move to the third, and you're really going to sound like you're making the changes, and then you're just kind of filling in the blanks. All right, we're going to move on to long 2-5-1s, but just before we do that, there is something extremely exciting happening in the first weekend of January. It's called the Saxophone Success Formula Live, where we are going to reimagine your sax together. It's my first ever live event at the Birmingham Conservatoire from January the 3rd to the 5th. And tickets, let me think when this video is coming out. Yes, as long as the tickets haven't sold out yet in the inner circle, tickets are now available for you to book your place on the Saxophone Success Formula Live weekend. It's going to be absolutely insane. We're going to have workshops, we're going to have lectures, we're all going to be getting involved. It's going to be the best event you've ever seen in your life, believe me, and it's going to set you up for your best ever 2025. You're going to get all the tools and a personalized practice plan at the end of it for you to practice everything that you've learned in the workshop. And we're going to reinvent your saxophone from the inside out through your breathing, your sound, your voicing, embouchure, improvising. There's going to be ensembles. It doesn't matter what standard you are, because there's going to be different groups for different standards at certain points. Believe me, this is going to be... It's going to turn the most depressing weekend of the year into the most inspirational weekend you've ever been to. People are coming from all around the world, but there's a limited number of places. So the link is in the description, and I can't wait to see you there. It's going to be awesome. Saxophone Success Formula Live. All right, now back to the plot. So now we move on to long 2-5-1s. Okay, so this is step 4. Now this time we're going to kind of keep the basis of what we've already established. We're going to keep that 7th to the 3rd at each bar line, so we really sound like we're making the changes. But we're going to add in a few little features. Now, the red arrows on screen there, they show you where we're going to fill in chord tones like we did before. So in each measure, there are 3 chord tones to fill in. However, we're gonna do little scale passages now to lead into them. So on the first bar on the -7 chord, whichever chord tone you choose for the first chord tone of the 3, you're gonna do a scale 4 notes going down to hit that chord tone. And what scale are you going to use? Well, F major scale, because we're in the key of F. So let's say, for the sake of argument, that you decided, oh, I'm going to do the 3rd. The B flat on that 3rd beat, on that first red arrow, on that first chord tone, then you just do 4 notes going down to it. So it'll be F, E, D, C, B flat. So if you choose your chord tone as a B flat, you're just going to go. And then you've got your 3 random chord tones, 3rd to 7th to 3rd. Now this time, for the next 3/8 notes, you're going to do the scale going up this time to the chord tone that you've chosen for beat 3 of the next bar. So if you chose the root, a C on that 3rd beat, you would do 3 quavers leading up to it. Okay, so now remember, you've already got the E in place. You play that every time. And then you've got your 3 random chord tones like we did before, and then you resolve it. So this is probably easier demonstrated than it is talked about, but there's the formula. Take a little screenshot if you need it, or rewind the video. And let's look at some examples of that. And Be-Bopicus Magicus. Here we go. Here is the formula being applied. But this time we've got a long 2/5-1. So I've got a little different backing track to play here. And let's have a go at these examples. So you can see in each case, there's the scale going down in purple. You've got your 3 random chord tones, 7th to 3rd, the scale going up in purple, your 3 random chord tones again, and then 7th to 3rd to resolve. All right, let's give it a go. I'll do that one again. Do that again. Okay, final one. One more time. All right. Sorry, the backing track is probably quite quiet for that one, but no worries. So, as you can see, you get some quite nice lines now, and this is just using the Be-Bopicus Magicus formula. So I've got some caveats towards the end, which, you know, before I get some red ink going on in the comments, I have got some caveats for all this. But there is one final thing which I'm going to do, which is give you a quick example. And everyone always loves looking at giant steps, don't they? So I thought, oh, the giant steps has got a bunch of different 2/5-1s in it. But just before I get there, if you haven't subscribed to Get Your Sax Together, have a little look wherever you're watching this on YouTube and see if you're subscribed to my channel. And if you are not, please do subscribe now. I'm pushing to try and get 100,000 subscribers. It feels like I'm trying to drag a heavy weight uphill to get this 100,000 subs. So if you're not subscribed, I'd really appreciate it if you would just hit the subscription button. Right, let's look at the example. I've realized I haven't actually lined up my backing track for this one, but this is more like a live video. So I'm just going to find the backing track and then I'll play the example, which is using the Be-Bopicus Magicus formula, which we've already established. Okay, that is me all sorted. So we're not going to do this at breakneck speed. We're going to do a nice medium tempo so you can hear all these chords moving. So this is what it sounds like. Now, just to remind you, every time that we've got that dominant chord, we've got the 7th to the 3rd of the major. And when we've got the 2/5-1s, we're moving 7/3, 7/3 guide tones. And then we're filling in the gaps with chord tones. All right, here we go. It sounds something like this. Let's see if I can get this right. So that's what it sounds like. I haven't got a fast backing track. I'm just going to play it a little bit faster for you. Now, you might actually recognize some of those little licks from things that John Coltrane himself plays on the original. And that just goes to show that the old Be-Bopicus Magicus formula is all good. Right, let's cover some of these caveats just to show you that, you know, I don't think this is such a magic bullet, but it's hopefully a really cool tip and will point you in the right direction. All right, so number one, there's no substitute for transcribing. We haven't talked about anything about, you know, enclosures or anything like that, or, you know, all this other cool bebop stuff. You have to transcribe. Now, when you do transcribe, you will see for yourself that this 7-3 thing happens all the time. However, I'm just pointing out to you, you've got to go and do the transcribing yourself, which leads nicely onto the fact that it's the phrasing which is so vital with this. And also, we haven't even done anything with the rhythm. We've just been, you know, like very boxy and square and eighth notes with our rhythm. The rhythm is going to be really key. And by the way, with the phrasing, there's things like tones, you know, bends, scoops, half tonguing, all that stuff, which is going to make your jazz sound really good. Second last thing, you have to know your chord tones. This is something that the magic wand will not mend, okay? Be-Bopicus Magicus will not work if you don't know your chord tones. And also, you know, this is a drill. This is an exercise. We're not performing here. We're not, you know, playing beautiful. Some of the lines are quite melodic, but we're not going out for these beautiful melodic lines. So just remember, you know, you're practicing a drill, and when you come to your actual gigs and performing, you'll probably go about this a little bit more differently, a little bit different, whatever. Okay, so that's all I've got for you today. This is a little magic bebop formula, which is going to help you make the changes and really sound like when you get to each chord, you know what you're doing. And it's also going to force you to learn your chord tones, which is absolutely awesome. So really hope you enjoyed the video today. Can't talk. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to the channel. Don't forget, as I mentioned before, we've got the Saxophone Success Formula Live, Reimagine Your Sax Together, which is also going to include a bunch of improvising insights based on, you know, your standard. So if you don't feel very confident, you will not be thrown in with a bunch of absolute show-off pros, and vice versa. If you're an absolute show-off pro, you won't be put in with beginners playing Baba Black Sheep. And there's things in the middle. So I can't wait to see you there. The tickets are available now. If they're still available, that is, they're probably about to sell out very fast. So make sure you grab the link in the description right now before it's too late. Okay. If you want something for free, go and check out my Saxophone Success Masterclass. That is a completely free resource, which is 1 hour of teaching. You will find the link in the description. I don't think there's going to be any outtakes on today's video, in case you're excited, because I literally have done this in one take today to get it done in time, because we've been working so hard on preparing to launch the Saxophone Success Formula Live. Okay, until next week. Thank you very much for watching, and make sure that you practice hard, practice smart, use a bit of magic, and enjoy your music. Take it easy, folks. See you later.